Hey everyone, how you doing? Corey here, coming at you with another YouTube video. And today I want to talk about the BlackMagic camera design, particularly all their cameras across the board, from cinema camera introduction to the new Ursa Mini and Ursa Mini Pro. I really want to touch base on this. I see a lot of people, different pros and cons to it, but I think there's a lot of cons that are kind of misconcepted in a way. I think people don't really have a true understanding of it sometimes. You have to understand that the BlackMagic cameras are a digital film camera. They're a digital cinema. And what I mean by that is, if you see a lot of forums and stuff like that, and people really complain about the ISO. How come this camera goes only 200? How come this one goes only 400? And they forget that with any digital cinema camera, whether it be a Sony, Red, Arri, you have to light it. You have to treat it as a cinema camera. And the way BlackMagic has designed their cameras, if you don't know this already, BlackMagic was essentially a post-production house. So they created their camera designs around the post-production workflow. Essentially what Red did the same thing, Arri did the same thing, Sony, etc. What people, I think, forget is sure, it doesn't have like ISO of 100, but it has an ISO of 200, 400, 800, and some people complain about, well, the sweet spot. I think production camera is 400 versus a cinema camera was 800, I believe. You have to remember too that there's two different sensor sizes in there. One's a CMOS, one's a CCD. But I think they're forgetting is you have to light it. The same thing, you have to light it. But also, it involves a little bit of post-production work. It all depends on if you're shooting ProRes or if you're shooting RAW. Big difference. A lot of people forget about that. I guess some of the people that I read, I want to put out names, things like that. Some of them come from a photography background, and you should kind of know that when you do photography, you have to light it as well. You can't take a picture and it be what you want. You have to take that into consideration when working with digital cinema files. Kind of the same thing as working with a RAW file in photography, essentially. If you know your ISO, particularly coming from a stills side, is not that much different from the cinema side at all. It's the same range of film emotion in that sense. For me, it's like when they say, let's say a production camera is ISO 400 and then the cinema camera was 800. That's kind of just the sweet spot. To me, that's kind of a comparison to like a gray card. Gray card, you want like 18%. Exposure, gray card. That's kind of the sweet spot. A lot of people worry about too much grain, especially if they're shooting at ISO 800. You don't have to worry about it so much because you can, in post-production, you can decrease the gain. A lot of people don't remember that or don't think about it. I'm not too sure, but you can decrease the gain with that. I don't see that much gain shooting at ISO 800. I really don't. I mean, it's a nice, pleasing image. Now, shot indoors with it, not a problem. I mean, it worked nice and sweet and smooth. There's 3-point lighting set up in your conference rooms. Are not the best lighting situations at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick video real quick here. Kind of show you an example. This video I'm about to show you was called M Theory, which was done for a little bit similar to a 48-hour film festival. But I think it was for a different film festival at the time. I can't remember at this point in time. But we shot it all within one day, from 8 a.m. in the morning, 9 a.m. in the morning till going almost 8 o'clock at night. Now, when you see this video, you'll see that I only use really one light. All of the rest of the lighting you see is all natural light, like behind me, like sunlight. A good portion of that was just sunlight coming directly through the windows, which kind of hard to, especially with the BlackMagic camera, with any camera, I think for that matter, if you too much sunlight, you have to recompensate really for that. Obviously, with this one, I didn't have any ND filters, because it would just kind of take away from the interior lighting. I think per se, I think it worked out well. I really did, because majority of your interior lightings, I mean, incandescent, fluorescent, I mean, they put off quite a bit. So, given circumstance, you can get away with using natural lighting with the cinema with the production. Sorry, with the BlackMagic cameras, whether it be cinema production, Ursa, you can get away with it. But really, the key point I want you to know is you have to light it. You have to light it in some way, shape, or form. If you use natural light, great. That way it's less lighting setups you have to do, especially in real tight, confined space, which in the video you're about to see, it's really tight, confined space. So let me show you that real quick and see what I'm talking about.
Welcome to Transpotech. I'm Hallie, your Holo assistant. How may I help you today?
Here we go. What the hell?
Who are you?
I love you, Talbot.
We have a 4-second window.
That'll work? This is insane.
We need to formulate a plan.
It can't be.
It's insane.
Stay here.
Alright, so we're back. Hopefully you liked the video. Again, it's all natural lighting except for that one light you see far back in the hallway there. That's really the only one that was kind of really to make like an open door essentially into space. That's how they transport. That's what that lighting was for. All the rest of that, all the way down the hallway, is all natural light. Blue's fluorescent coming down. Of course, you had the daylight coming to the windows, which is nice. So again, whether you're shooting with the BlackMagic cameras or you're shooting with the Red or Airy for that matter, it doesn't matter if you're shooting 2K or 4K or 1080p. These cameras are digital cinema cameras. You have to remember that. So when you go to shoot with these cameras, you have to remember you're going to have a post-production workflow behind that. If you shoot ProRes, maybe a little bit less work in the production side of it, particularly your color grading. Maybe, especially if you get it right in camera. That's the big thing. I've used cinema camera ProRes files, and I was able to get so much latitude, highlights, and shadows out of just that ProRes file. I may have to go half a stop up, half a stop down. Very minimal, and it produced a lot, especially for a ProRes file. That much latitude is pretty awesome. Kind of the same thing with the Red and with Sony, and also with Airy as well. If you shoot it right and you light it right, you may have to go a stop up or stop down. Very, very minimal. If you shoot raw, you really have a lot of post-production workflow, particularly in color grading. Obviously, that takes a little more time. But you have to remember too is ISO that these cameras give you is just a ballpark figure. I'll give you an example. When I shot on film, a lot of times I'll either shoot with ISO 100 emulsion or 250D as in Delta, which kind of it was more of a lunchtime, mid-afternoon, roughly, give or take, emulsion, as it were. I actually like the 250. It's not bad. 100 is obviously a little more brighter days, especially in Florida. And one thing, if you remember, Kodak used to have the ISO 800 film stock. They kind of did away with that when someone figured out how to go skip the bleach processing when it came to processing the film itself. So Kodak in their Vision 3 decided to go ahead and skip the ISO 100 and just keep the ISO 500 and just increase the sensitivity in there. So I worked on a couple NFL film games as a camera assistant film loader, and it would be 5 p.m. roughly, and it's still real bright outside, just late afternoon, and he would ask for the 500T emulsion. I'll give it to him, and it works great. I've seen other people kind of use 500T a good portion of, especially some bright areas in that, and also during the night as well. You'll see that because really the ISO 800 was really mainly for a nighttime emotion, but the 500T and the skip and bleach process really helped that. And so you can use 500T for a lot of stuff. So this goes back to, using those as examples, this go back to BlackMagic cameras, the Red, the Airy, a little bit of the Sony, but really the Red and the Airy are kind of really more similar film emotion in that regard. And maybe the Canon, I'm not sure if the new Canon one just yet. I haven't really looked at that much stuff on it. Haven't seen that much stuff on the new Canon camera. But from what I know, at least the Red, Airy, and BlackMagic cameras really keen in on film emotion. And so when you have certain ones, say if you have the BlackMagic cameras, you have ISO 100, I'm sorry, ISO 200, 400, 800, 1600 as most you can go up to. Don't complain about it. Don't just use it. It's your paintbrush. You know, you're trying to paint a canvas. Don't get stuck up on, oh, what if I have to go to ISO 1600? Fine, great. You may have a little more noise in there than normal, but you can always go down to ISO 800. And then on the flip side of that, it's good to have fast lenses. Maybe fast lenses is really, and it's hard to get one. All depends on if it's a wide angle or medium. Get one that's like 1.2, 1.4, 1.8. Usually you can find those, especially like a 1.4 and a 50mm. You can find a little bit on the wide end. You're gonna pay a lot more for it. So instead of you always complaining about the the low ISO on these cameras, get fast lenses, man. That's really what it comes down to. Get fast lenses, and it compensates you on that. Because I think it was on this one here I shot on an M3 I shot maybe ISO, I think maybe 400. Yeah, I think it was 400. But I was wide open the entire time. I believe I had a 28mm and a 35mm, and then I think a 50 is the most I've used at all. And really, I just left the ISO where it was, and I just used my my stops. And I just opened it up when I could, and you'll see that, you know, with the lighting and stuff. You'll see. What it really comes down to is you know, trying to get so hung up on the ISO part of it. Compensate yourself with the fast lenses. And you have to remember, with these cameras, you're going to have post-production. You're going to have to include that in there, because I think a lot of people forget that part. They shoot, oh, let me shoot the BlackMagic camera, let me shoot the Airy mirror, but you forget the workflow behind it. You forget that a lot of these cameras, they make a really awesome, good picture internally. I mean, it really sets you up for that final picture. You just have to do a tiny, tiny bit of tweaking at the post end. Especially if you're doing ProRes, that gets close to you. Now, if you're shooting a full feature, you may want to shoot RAW. It all depends on what your final output is and how much hard drive space you have really in your budget. You have to remember that too. When you're shooting RAW, you're gonna use a chunk of hard drive space. That's why a lot of times it's good to shoot ProRes at this point, because really the only time you shoot RAW is you really want to go with a lot of CGI effects and visual effects and stuff like that. If you're just shooting for like for the web or something like that, you can get away with that ProRes, 422, 444. You should be fine with that. So obviously, with these cameras, particularly with the BlackMagic cameras, you'll see that the new Ursa Mini Pro has a brand new sensor. Don't know if it's CMOS or if it's a CCD. But the big benefit is, I think, really for this particular camera is built-in ND filters, which is really, really positive. So again, final conclusion here. When you go to shoot with these cameras, if you shoot on any of the BlackMagic cameras or Red camera or an Airy camera, you have to remember too, you have to treat it like a digital film camera. You have to light it if possible. A lot of times you can get away with just natural lighting, believe it or not, especially if you have fast lenses with that. You have to remember there's also a post-production side behind it. So please remember that. That's it for this video, and hopefully you guys enjoy and really listen to what I'm telling you. If you have any questions or comments, anything like that, comment in the bottom section here. Let me know what you think. Yay, nay, feedback, whatever, negative, positive, fine with me, not a problem. That's why I decided to go ahead and create this video for you guys. That way, may answer some questions, may have some questions you already know, etc., etc. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and that's it.